Hi again. This is an update on that Arkansas man that was 107 years old that I reported that was killed the other day. I thought that I would show you this because I think it's important that we know the whole story if possible. This is Arkansas man 107 spoke of being shot before standoff. This was reported at 8:22 p.m. today on September 10th. Um, this is a picture of him that was taken in 2011 on his 105th birthday in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Okay, going to the article at Little Rock, Arkansas. A 107-year-old Arkansas man who died in a police standoff this weekend told officers months earlier that they would have to shoot him or throw him in jail before he went back home with his son in law, according to police reports obtained Tuesday by the Associated Press. Monroe Isidore made the comments during an argument in June when he said his daughter and son in law didn't want him around, according to one of several police reports the AP obtained. Mr. Isidore stated we would have to shoot him or throw him in jail before he went back home with his son in law, one of the reports said. Mr. Isidore stated he was 107 years old and God told him to do his will. Neither Isidore's daughter nor son in law returned phone messages left Tuesday. Isidore died on Saturday in Pine Bluff after he opened fire on police and authorities shot him. Authorities have said they tried using a camera, negotiation tactics, and gas before shooting Isidore. But that hasn't answered questions from residents in Pine Bluff, a community of about 50,000 people, some 45 miles southeast of Little Rock. Some are struggling to make sense of how a man that even some police officers knew was hard of hearing that he could die in such an explosive confrontation. Police have said an officer involved in the weekend shooting had been placed on paid administrative leave. Authorities would not identify the officer who had not been charged with any wrongdoing. Sergeant David DeFur said he believed the officer placed on leave was the only one who fired at Isidore. Meanwhile, the police reports obtained by AP on Tuesday shed light on some of the problems Isidore faced as he grew older. A man broke into his home in 2008 and stole $9 in a gun, an old Winchester 38, according to a police report. Mr. Isidore said he recognized the suspect but could not recall his name. Another report from 2008, dated less than a week later, a police officer recovered a car that had apparently been stolen from Isidore. Dispatch advised they made contact but were unable to find out from Mr. Monroe Isidore if it was stolen due to him being hard of hearing, the report said. So, a police officer went to Isidore's home to find out what happened. Mr. Isidore did not know it had been stolen until the officer told him, according to the report. Things took a violent turn Saturday when police were called to the domestic disturbance at another house in Pine Bluff where Isidore was staying. Laura Barlow, 48, of Lanoke, told officers she had gone to the house where Isidore was living temporarily to help him move to a new home, according to the police report. She said Isidore had previously been excited about the move, but that when she arrived, Isidore barricaded himself in a room. Mrs. Barlow stated his granddaughter finally got him to open the door and she went around to speak with Mr. Isidore. At that time, she stated, Mr. Isidore raised his arm and pointed a gun at her and stated, "You better stop breaking into my house," the report said. After police moved Barlow and the granddaughter across the street, Isidore fired at the door moments after police tried to contact him. A SWAT team called out when negotiations failed maneuvered a camera into the house to see how Isidore was armed, and then stormed inside after deploying gas and distraction device. When Isidore fired, the entry team fired back. It is not clear why authorities moved into the home when they did. I don't know what was going on at the scene that would make them go ahead and go in, DeFur said. When shots are fired, it changes the whole idea of it. Let's sit out here and wait. Prosecutors are expected to review the case as early as this week. Now, I tell you, people, we got to remember that our loved ones and even friends or whoever, as they do get older, unfortunately, as we all get older, our minds aren't as keen as they were when we were young. And obviously, this man was in the mode that he thought somebody was trying to break in on him and he was trying to defend his property. Um, that's the way I see it. That's what they said in the article. Um, Dementia is a terrible thing, and for all we know, he could have Alzheimer's. I mean, to live to be 107, what a blessing. But he looked like he was in good health at least 2 years ago in the photo. Um, it's just sad that he had to die that way, and it sounds like a lot of people in Arkansas feel the same way that I do. So I don't know if I'll find anything in the future on this. If you're interested, and if I do, I can make another video, but if you're not, I won't. But to me, a life that is not spared is not a good thing, no matter what the circumstances are. Um, I know there's a lot of people in the world, and we all have to die one day. We're born to die. But I feel like that sometimes, I've always said I'll die when it's my time. But was it his time? People can take your time into their hands, and that's what happened in this case. So you ought to think about that. But the next time you talk to Granny or whoever, which I don't have a grandmother anymore, mine have all passed away. I miss them terribly. But the next time you talk to Grandma, Granny, a friend that's old, just remember that maybe some of the things they say don't make a lot of sense to you, but at that moment, it makes a lot of sense to them. When I got hurt, and when I got my spinal injury, I was working in a rest home, and I worked with Alzheimer's patients. And I have to say, it was the most rewarding job I ever had in my entire life. Um, those people at one point, I'd be a mother, I'd be a sister, I'd be a friend, I'd be a child, and I would play the part, whatever they thought I was, because 5 minutes later, I was somebody else. Now, a lot of nurses didn't think that was right, but my supervisor thought it was wonderful, and they placed me in that wing. But I prevented a patient from hitting the floor that would have probably died because she had a feeding tube. She was pigeoned in her arms where she had had many strokes. She couldn't speak. And I did not want to see her come to harm. And I grabbed her and got her back to the bed. And unfortunately, we fell on the bed, but I did keep her from hitting the floor. But I had a 90% spinal cord injury as the result. And I also fractured both arms from the wrist up to the elbow. And the only reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to remember that these, no matter what the circumstances, I had people at work tell me, why didn't you just let the old bag fall? Well, let me tell you something. They don't need to be in that type job if that's the way they feel. Because to me, I looked around and I said, what if that had been your mother? Would you have wanted me to let the old bag fall? And if even everything that I went through, major surgery, I have something that looks like an old cane chair holding my spinal cord together now. I have two ruptured discs in my lower back that I can never get fixed because I got Mercer and I almost died during the surgery. But it took me 2.5 years. But after they said I'd never walk again, I walk. I walk every day and I thank God for it. But just remember that people who are disabled or have problems, they still have feelings too. And people who maybe don't think as well as they used to, they still need to be loved and they need to be cherished. You know, when I worked there, nobody ever come to see those people. And I used to sit there when one was about to die, and I would go clock out and sit there on my own because I didn't want to see that person die alone. Because nobody should have to die alone. And it breaks my heart when I see old people mistreated, and I think that's why. But I love people, and I miss my job. I would, if I had it to do all over again, though, knowing what I know now, I would still have made the same decision because I wasn't thinking about, oh, I might get hurt. All I was thinking about is that lady can't hit that floor. And I thank God every day that I made the right decision. And although times are hard now, I know God will bless me for it someday if it's in His will. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you because I ran across this was breaking news that it just come out on breakingnews.com, and I wanted to let you know about it because so many of you seemed like you were interested about it, about what had happened to this gentleman. And I hope he's up there in heaven with his wife or his mother and his father now because just looking at his picture there, he looks like a really nice man. And I don't think if he'd have been in his right mind that he would have been trying to defend himself. He would have realized that the police were there, and he would have been ready to go move or whatever the case was in the situation. Anyway, that's enough about this for now. I just wanted to give you an update. I hope everybody has had a good day. Well, I should say good morning now. It's 12:25 a.m. Eastern Standard on September 11th. And I've woken up one of the birds talking. Anyway, y'all take care. God bless you. I love you so much. I hope you like my video. Have a great day today, and I'll talk with you later. Bye bye.